The blueprints are supposed to be a rework. That's certainly the wrong word, but something will be changed about the blueprint in the future. That won't come with the next big update. Therefore, it's not the Tuesday update at this point, but the feature won't be active until after the expedition or the expedition site is complete. Yet explore options for minimizing the frustration associated with the fact that upon starting an expedition, all the blueprints have disappeared. And that's the main reason why there have only been 10% of players so far. Out of around 10 million players at the time, 10% decided to do the first expedition. Antares, the other 90 just don't feel like it, understandably, because some of the blueprints in the game are very hard to get, especially if you don't have 5 hours a day to play the game. So I understand the frustration. Let's just read a bit from this interview. Blueprints after the wipe. With the aim of minimizing frustration for players following a wipe, our creators' leadership is exploring the possibility of empowering them with greater autonomy in locating blueprints. To maintain a fair balance of power within the game, design leader Virtual Vetkins proposed that players should not retain their blueprints after a wipe. This approach I completely understand. Helps prevent any unfair advantages. You start fresh, have a Tempest blueprint right away, then have your crafting benches set up so that you can immediately go into PvP action if you want or something like that. This is just an example related to the blueprint. Then you have a power advantage. We all know that we can share items with each other, trade them, Discord servers, file sharing, and so on and so forth. Then there are a lot of ways around that. And that's exactly what Embark doesn't want. And now they're looking for ways to make it all a bit faster for you to find. In order to improve the player experience, it would be more beneficial to implement systematic changes to how blueprints are obtained and discovered, allowing players to simultaneously progress toward their desired objects. By implementing these adjustments, players will be able to quickly recover a satisfactory level of loot acquisition without disrupting the game's delicate balance. Boom. I foresee that getting that balance right will be incredibly difficult. In case any of you happen to have played Destiny, there was a being by the name of Exobol Ovanexohon Eltha Tum. He was there once a week, I believe, only on the weekends. He was located in the tower, which meant you had to search for him before you could trade with him. He carried a selection of exotic items that would change every week, always on the weekend. I could imagine something like that. I'll be perfectly honest. Though, I wouldn't find it that cool at this point, but I think it's highly probable that in time some traders will start offering this to make it easier to get a hold of. Huh? However, one can only hope that the truly powerful blueprints are left out to maintain a certain level of challenge. The goal is to avoid a situation where every single item in Game Esperanza becomes readily tradable, a result that is certainly undesirable. But I could see us making adjustments in future events or challenges. One such adjustment might be increasing the rewards players earn for obtaining blueprints. The goal would be to mitigate the frustration many of you experience, ensuring that your wish for more blueprints is consistently fulfilled. This, in turn, would hopefully lead to a greater number of players opting for a wipe, because that's the core reason most of you are hesitant to take on the expedition, something I fully appreciate. But to all those who put a lot of heart and soul into this game because you all love it so much, then I could only say wipe and forget about the blueprints, because the replay value and then finding the coolest blueprints again is a damn cool feeling. And that gives you, I don't know what kind of blueprint. You repeatedly discover blueprints, the same ones no less, that you've already found 5, 6, or 7 times. If, however, you begin from scratch, it's simply a completely different experience once again. Once the feeling of finding a Tempest, a Deadline, or a Wolfpack blueprint again after what seems like an eternity is just completely different from having already had them in your possession for months on end. Of course, everyone has to decide for themselves. That's just my personal opinion. It features good replay value, and MBG is already actively working on improvements to the expedition with the goal of making it even more rewarding. Everything to do with the blueprints is also confirmed by Virtual Vet Guns. That will take a while. Don't expect to see that in the next few updates, and it might not even be part of our current roadmap. I feel there should be a balance, making sure the blueprints aren't, in my view, too straightforward to acquire. Other than that, just looting and grinding for the blueprints becomes incredibly tedious when you acquire everything much too rapidly. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a nice rest of the day. Stay healthy as always. Get stuck in. Ciao.